Okay, in this dialogue, we have two friends that are meeting for the first time since the man's trip. The woman asks about his experience abroad and is surprised to hear about how bad his trip was. The trip could have been worse, but thankfully, the head manager was able to find the man a place to stay. So the manager kept the man's trip from becoming a total nightmare. Let's go over some of the key phrases from the dialogue. I'm so happy to be back. This means exactly what it says, but it can mean something different depending on how you say it. Let's say, as it was in the dialogue above, that you had an awful trip. Upon your arrival, someone asks the age-old question, how was your trip? That's when you honestly and wholeheartedly say, I'm so happy to be back. You say this because your trip was so terrible that you were longing to return to your homeland during your trip. On the other hand, you can use this phrase as a courteous greeting. For example, hey Marlene, welcome back. Thanks, I'm happy to be back. Now, I don't know where to begin. This phrase is often used whenever something goes terribly wrong, or there are too many events that took place simultaneously, or without any order. It basically means that the situation was such a tangled mess that there isn't really a good place to begin telling the story. For example, you didn't show up to the meeting this morning. What happened to you? Man, I don't even know where to begin. Now, next, I had to catch a red eye. Have you ever stayed up all night? Yeah, I'm sure you have, because I know I certainly did when I was in university. After staying up all night, or staying up really late, my eyes become red and irritated. A red eye is a flight that leaves very late at night. So, you could use this expression in the following ways. You should book a red-eye flight because they're cheaper. Or, I love red eyes because they're great for sleeping. Next phrase, spending money. Spending money, sometimes referred to as pocket money, is the money that one designates for purchasing anything. It's money that can be freely spent without worry or concern. For example, I used up all my spending money. Or, I have 200,000 won for spending money. Or, how much spending money do you have? Now next, but wait, it gets better. This expression is very sarcastic in that it means the opposite of better. You can use this expression when telling a story and you want to connect the chain of events in a very dramatic manner. If you're telling a happy story, you would use this phrase to mean that the next part of the story will make it better. But if you're using the phrase in the middle of a story that has a negative sequence of events, it'll indicate that the story will get more complicated or worsen with the next bit of information. Now here's a cultural tip for you. Traveling is a way of experiencing new cultures and places. Before visiting a different country, it is very good to read up on the destination's culture, people, language, laws, local customs, etc. What might be acceptable in your country may not be in the country that you're planning to visit. Another good idea is to talk to people that have traveled to that location. Ask about their experiences and what recommendations they might make, where to stay, and what places are tourist traps. There's a lot we can do to maximize our chances of having a good time during our vacation.